Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Doom Patrol, which is the 7th episode, which was called Therapy Patrol. And I have to say, this one will probably be pretty short because not a lot happened in this one, and overall it wasn't the greatest episode. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't just, jam-packed full of stuff. It was mostly characters' backstories. It really did live up to name Therapy Patrol because it was pretty much just a therapy session for the group throughout the whole episode. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get right into it. So pretty much the whole first half of it is just all the individual characters reacting to the same thing that's happening. It's all about how they get to this point later on in the episode, and it just, like I said, it's all leading up to a certain point. We start out with Rita, and she's having a dream where when she was a little girl and she met a movie star, and she basically used her stage name to become Rita Farr. Rita wakes up and she tells Cyborg she's going to be coming to a team meeting soon, and after that it's pretty much just basically her trying to pull herself together using her powers. She can't really control them too well. She's kind of doing a mantra over and over, and she ends up kind of getting emotional and her whole body falls apart. She falls through the floor. She ends up in the basement, and she looks very strange at this point, like she's basically just her head and this blob body, and she's trying to get up the stairs, and eventually she makes it to the top and she makes it to the meeting, and that was pretty much all of her story. After that, you see Larry's actions during that time. He's dreaming about when he was a kid, and then it goes on to where he's sort of having flashbacks are being created for him, but they're all wrong. It's him and the guy he was having the affair with, and it's kind of all about him coming to terms with that relationship and stuff. And like I said, it's all just a dream. The person in the spirit inhabiting him is kind of trying to get him to open up about stuff. Cyborgs was the actual story, the only one that I actually found interesting remotely, and his was just about, now that all the privacy settings are turned off, that his father had turned them off during that update. Now he's starting to get updates from social media and stuff like that, which he had been, disconnected from. Apparently, he didn't know this, and he had equivalent of a Tinder account at one point when he was like 18, and he's still getting updates from that. Of course, most of the women on there recognize him as Cyborg because he starts messaging a couple of them, and of course they know he's Cyborg, and they're just into him because he's a celebrity. He ends up with one of them who, she's a nurse, and he gets to talking to her, and I don't think she really realizes who he is. And I thought they were kind of going somewhere with this one until he sends her an updated picture, which is of course him as Cyborg. And he's also watching her on surveillance cameras because his whole programming is open to everything now, and he's not really asking for it. It's just the programming is doing it for him. So he's watching her reaction as she gets the picture of him, and she's like really disgusted, which was weird to me because he's a superhero. He is a celebrity, so I was surprised at her reaction. She instantly stops talking to him, and I kind of felt bad for the guy. It was kind of sad. Jane's part was, first it started out she was kind of remembering, I'm assuming she was remembering. It's a flashback to when she was a baby in the 50s, and she's from Arkansas, so hey, go Arkansas, because that's where I'm from. But anyways, she's kind of flashing back to that. Apparently she had a horrible childhood, no shock there, I don't guess. She ends up going to the chief's office, and she watches some videos of the chief talking to her, and then one of her personalities gets really mad, starts shredding everything up, and she's kind of having an internal struggle with herself. She doesn't want this to happen, but that was pretty much all of her storyline. Robot Man's is that he's still very upset because he found his daughter on social media. There's this other guy from that he was familiar with back in the day, and he's basically the father figure to this girl. She's never talked about, Robot Man actually being her father. Of course, she wouldn't know him. He's dead to her, as far as she's concerned. But that's kind of his storyline. He kind of has a hallucination to where he's talking to the guy, and you get to start to see that he's seen hallucinations when they're not actually there. He thinks those people are actually, there in front of him when it turns out to be members of the Doom Patrol that he's actually talking to. He ends up getting into a fight with Cyborg, although, again, he's not really sure that that is Cyborg. He's just kind of going manic and he's going crazy, and they kind of get into it. So after that, they end up having this therapy session where they're all kind of talking about things that's affecting them, and they start talking about some of their darkest secrets, I guess. And, that's just pretty much the whole scene there. Is just them getting to know each other so they don't end up, I guess, hating each other. I really was very uncertain about this scene. Jane ends up showing them an image that she was painting earlier about what she saw when she was inside the donkey in the second episode, and it looks like it's just the current members of the Doom Patrol. They appear to be dead, and I think Cyborg's the only one standing. He's holding someone. I'm not really sure who. I think that might have been Rita, but I wasn't for certain. Of course, they're all skeptical about this, but she said, the Hangman's daughter is the one who painted this, and the Hangman's daughter doesn't lie. Things all get a little heated, and they end up fighting again, and Robot Man kind of falls down, starts basically having the equivalent of a seizure, and a rat runs out of his body. And then we get into the weirdest part of the episode, which was the flashback to Admiral Whiskers, which was apparently a mouse that had a very tragic backstory. So Admiral Whiskers is a rat that 6 months ago his mother was trying to teach him how to cross the road, and as this is happening, his mother starts to run across the road, and the Doom Patrol ran her down, which I don't guess they knew, but they run her down, and this was quite possibly the saddest moment I've ever seen on this show, but at the same time I was laughing because I'm horrible that way apparently. But the little, Admiral Whiskers, he just starts crying. And like I said, it was so bizarre, but it was so sad. It was just the weirdest moment. Well, then Mr. Nobody starts talking to Admiral Whiskers in his head, and he basically kind of tells him, you have to avenge your mother, you have to get revenge, and he wants him to, get back, to get revenge on the Doom Patrol for them killing his mother. It was so bizarre, but like I said, at the same time, it was really sad. So cut to 6 months later, Admiral Whiskers is now grown, and he's been plotting his revenge, and he kind of climbs in the window in Robot Man's room. Robot Man is asleep or powered down or however, and it was weird. He's got these little subtitles that says something about what his name is and that he's avenging his mother, and he gets inside of Robot Man and starts to just go haywire in there, which is what's causing all these problems that we've seen earlier. And that's literally how it ended, just with that. And I was very confused, I guess. This episode was just really crazy. There wasn't a whole lot of movement in it, and then at the very end of it, it was just bonkers with the whole rat thing. So, I don't know. Anyways, that's really all there was to it. I'm just going to leave this one here. Let me guys know what you think. I kind of feel like Admiral Whiskers is now going to have a big following on the internet or something. I could just see memes about him everywhere. I don't know. I could see that happening. Anyways, let me know what you thought about the episode, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another recap. Have a good one, guys.